everyone, and welcome back to Lil's Takes, the podcast. So I am not very well today. If you are one of the people that watches this podcast on YouTube, you'll notice I'm in bed. I'm in my bed. I've got a whole setup with two tripods facing my bed, and I didn't realise that, you know what, it looks a bit like a porn setup. And it's fine though. The other thing is, it's the middle of the day on a Tuesday, and I live opposite a primary school, and it's school kick-out time, so all the mums are walking past. So let us hope they don't, jump to any conclusions. Anyway, I've also got the dogs with me, and they might bark sporadically because they really hate when kids come home from school. It's not their bag. That's fine. So, I don't even have that much of a plan for this podcast, but obviously there wasn't a podcast last week. I was meant to post a YouTube video replacement, but I genuinely just forgot, and I was having too much fun to go on my YouTube studio, and so I just wanted to completely switch off and not have anything to do with work-wise while I was away. Even though I filmed loads, I didn't want to edit anything. So I'm doing all my editing now. I've got a hella good vlog coming from Rome. It was just, we spent the whole time laughing, it was so funny, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I thought I'd do a little podcast today talking about my trip, because if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see I didn't just go to one place. We did a interrailing tour of Italy, and it was so cool. And I had it was a bit of a weird group. It was me and my boyfriend and my friend Jasmine, so it was just the three of us, and it sounds like an odd group, but it was really good, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I'm going back to my roots, and we're starting the episode off with on this day in history, because I know when this podcast is coming out, it should be the 20th of March, fingers crossed. Very apt is that I'm ill and I feel like I'm dying. That's why I'm not in the studio. I didn't even tell you why I'm not there. I'm not in the studio because my studio doesn't have any heating. It's so cold in there. It keeps in the cold, and no matter how much you heat it, it will not heat. So I'm too ill to go and sit in a freezing cold room for 2 hours and freeze myself to death and then have to edit in there, and my fingers will hurt, and I don't want to take the dogs. It's just too much stress. So I decided I'm going to film in my bed today. So here you are. Welcome to my bedroom, a place only very few get to see, and only very few get to leave. I'm joking. I'm not a killer. I don't know where I was going with that joke at all. On this day in history, in way back when, 1345, that's how far we're going back, the Black Death was supposedly created, and that is brilliant, because that is exactly how I feel. I feel like the Black Death right now. And I get a lot of hate on my nasally voice as it is. My nasally voice with a cold, oh, you're going to hate me. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be like your worst nasally nightmare. So, according to the scholars at the University of Paris, the Black Death is created on March the 20th, 1345, from what they call a triple conjunction of Saturn, Jupiter and Mars in the 40th degree of Aquarius, according to these scholars. So obviously way back when, they thought that illnesses and plagues and things like that were caused by some was it astronomy at the time, astronomers thought it was caused by the movement of the planets. Most people thought it was caused by God. It was, God having revenge on you for something, or it was for your wrongdoings, it was for your sins, you got ill and things like that. So there was a lot of different reasons as to why they thought illness occurred, but nothing to do with science and microbes and things like that, microorganisms. But the Black Death swept across Europe, the Middle East and Asia during the 14th century, and it left an estimated 25 million people dead, which is wild. The Black Death actually only refers to the first wave of the plague. After that, it was just the plague, because there was more than one wave of the plague. It happened almost periodically every 100 years, so 1300s, 1400s, 1500s. And then there was stuff like Spanish flu. Oh God, there was so many illnesses. I find medical history really, really interesting. That's something that's so cool. But yeah, so on this day in 1345, the Black Death was created, but it was obviously not created by the alignments of the planets. It was, in fact, an illness that was carried by fleas. Then the fleas jumped on the rats, and were carried around the city via rats and other animals, which is you know what a really healthy and lovely way to start this episode, us talking about the Black Death. Yeah, maybe let's switch off from the Black Death for a sec. But yeah, let us move on. So I do want to talk to you for a bit about my holiday. I want to cover my illness first. This is actually a genuine question I want to put out to the group. Do any other vegetarians get ill all the time? Like, I'm constantly fighting something, but I never used to be. When I was never like a sickly kid. I've always had like probably one cold a year, like in the winter. But I feel like I'm fighting something all the time. And my ear, I get blocked ears when I have a cold, so I can't hear properly. This ear has been blocked for over 3 months now, because I'm just always ill, like I haven't been well. And I don't know if it's because I am a vegetarian and I'm not eating the right vitamins that I should be eating. A lot of people are saying it's like B12 and things like that. I just want to know if any other vegetarians are consistently ill, because I am consistently ill, and I want to put it down to if it's something that I'm like not getting. Do you know how hard it is to get a GP appointment? Oh, like gold dust. So I won't be doing that. But yeah, I think Liam's very on board with me like starting to eat meat again, and now I'm starting to wonder, actually, will it benefit my health now if I start to eat meat again? But the thought of eating meat again terrifies me because I'm emetophobic. I never really stopped eating meat because the fear of it making me sick, because obviously food poisoning, I always link food poisoning to meat, even though you can get it from like other things. But now I do, like after not eating it for so long, I've really put those two together in my head. So I think if I start eating meat again, I'm going to be completely consumed by the anxiety of the fact that I think I'm going to be ill. I really hope, that's not what I never thought in my head I'd be a vegetarian for the rest of my life. I only did it as a bet to like see if I could do it for 2 weeks, and it's been 4 years now. I think it's been 4 years, probably over 4 years since I've eaten meat, and now the thought of going back is terrifying. But I've never been really against it. Like, I really wanted to stop eating fish because I really hated what that was doing to the sea. I watched Seaspiracy and I became a vegetarian. That's what happened. But I really hate the farming, like the meat production industry. I really hate it. But if it's going to help me get better, not be ill all the time, then I am willing to eat meat again. But the thought of it is really just quite scary. And I'm not going to make that decision until I know that's what's making me ill. And if I have to do that, then I'll do that. Oh, but the thought of it is really terrifying. And also, if you've ever been on a holiday as a vegetarian, there's just nothing for you to eat. Like, I just went to Italy and all you eat is pizza. Sorry, Peter. All you eat is pizza and pasta anyway, but it's just pasta and cream. I've just eaten carbs and dairy for like 10 days. You'd think in Italy there would be something for me to eat. No, Italian McDonald's, I held out hope because I thought Italy, maybe there's a lot of veggies. And there's nothing. We had a McDonald's breakfast. Was it a breakfast? Was it a normal? No, it was a normal McDonald's. It was the middle of the day. And the only thing I could eat was like a McMuffin, but it was just bread with cheese in the middle. It was like a cheese toasty, and it was 2 pieces of bread with 1 slice of cheese in the middle. And that was the only thing on the menu that I could eat apart from fries. Oh God, it was hell. It was hell and horror. And I love trying McDonald's in other countries, but that was the extent of my McDonald's experience. And that's left a hole in my heart, I'm not going to lie. So, yes, I went to Italy for 10 days. We started in Rome. Then we moved our way up. So we stayed in Rome for 4 days, 4 nights. Then we went to Bologna for 3 nights, Florence for 2 nights, Pisa for 1 night, and flew home from Pisa. So we did it 4, 3, 2, 1 nights. But there was a reason for that. So we stayed the 4 nights in Rome because we had the most to do there. And Liam also didn't stay the whole time. Liam only stayed for 6 nights, and he wasn't there for 4 nights, and whereas me and Jasmine stayed for the whole, obviously, 10 nights. So Liam was there the whole of Rome, and he was there for 2 nights in Bologna, and then he left. So then we had 1 night in Bologna, Florence and Pisa without Liam. So it was like 2 separate holidays for me. It was really weird. But it was amazing. It was amazing because I think a huge part of it is the fact I was with Liam and Jazz, and I'm like, they're the two closest probably people that aren't my family to me. Obviously I'm so close with Liam, and Jasmine is like she's my closest friend probably. We've obviously lived together at uni, so it's so easy for us to be together. For all of us as a group, it turned out to be just so natural, which was brilliant. And I know lots of people are going to be like, that's really weird going on holiday with your boyfriend and then a friend as well. It sounds odd, but it wasn't odd at all. There was meant to be 4 of us. There was meant to be another boy coming, but he couldn't come, unfortunately. So it whittled down to 3 of us, and we were like, yeah, that's fine. There was no point we were like, oh, is that going to be a bit weird? We were like, no, it's so fine. And that was great. So our 4 days in Rome, we did everything. Would I recommend? I would so recommend Rome if... Tell him. Okay. I would recommend Rome if you're the type of person that loves seeing, like ancient things, if you're a history buff, if you are just really interested in the past or in iconic things like that. I feel like at once in your life you have to go to like Rome and Paris and London, and I just love things like that. Then definitely go. It's expensive, it is dirty, and there are pickpockets. However, what you see definitely outweighs all of that, but that's also what you expect from a lot of capital cities. Like, that's also Paris and that's also London. I would say Rome is particularly dirty. There's a lot of graffiti everywhere, and I know that puts off a lot of people. It didn't us really. But when I tell you, I have seen the most beautiful things. Like, if you're interested in art history or just history in general, the Trevi Fountain is a marvel. The Colosseum is it's just unreal to imagine something that old still existing and being that vast. Like, it's like the pyramids. Like, how did they build that without a crane? Or, well, a modern crane, you know what I mean? Hi, Pepper. It is literally crazy, but it is so busy all the time. Like, we've gone in March, so in spring, so it's not like it's hot there, but there's still so many people. There will be Americans everywhere. Just accept it. It's fine. And we went to the Vatican and we did the Vatican museums. They are amazing if you're interested in art history and things like that, because they are obviously just full of art. So we saw, the Sistine Chapel and Michelangelo's paintings. And if you know what that is, you're probably going to be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Was it amazing? If you don't know what that is, you don't care at all. And that's so fine. But if you do know, if you're interested in all that stuff, it is amazing to go and see. We also happened to go, how unlucky is this? We happened to book our tickets, and once every 25 years there is a jubilee where people go and make their Catholic pilgrimage to the Vatican City, to the Pope. And that only happens once every 25 years in March. We happened to book it on that date, when the pilgrimage was. And so I was walking around in butter shorts, is what they can only be described as, and a little top, and the scowls I got. You obviously can't wear that in the Vatican, I knew that anyway, but we weren't going to the Vatican, we were just walking around and having a look around Rome. And the looks I was getting from the amount of people there, me and Jasmine were getting horrific looks from the public. But maybe, that was just timing. I reckon in the summer you'd be fine because everyone else would be doing the same thing. But a lot of people they're like, it's not summer in Italy. They're obviously, because it's hotter there, they're still wearing winter clothes. But for us, it's hot because we're English. So I was getting scowled at. But it's fine. It's fine. You get over it. But Rome was really, a cultural reset. It was great. But the food didn't wow me. The food didn't wow me anywhere in Italy. And we went to Bologna, which is classed as the food capital of Italy. And even there, I wasn't we all said the same. The food wasn't wow. It was a bit meh. But I feel like if you go with too high expectations, then you'll possibly be disappointed. And then we went on to Bologna, and Bologna is so much more chill. It's a really cool little city. It's meant to be the food capital. There is some good food there. There's some good bars. It's just a complete vibe change. The thing that was amazing for us about Bologna is we stayed in the most gorgeous lofted Airbnb. It was amazing. but it was super chill. Like, we did actually accidentally get drunk every night in Rome, and we got drunk and went to the Trevi Fountain at 2 a.m, and it was still busy. Still busy. If you go in the daytime, you won't be able to breathe, but even at 2 a.m, it was still busy. I did a pike, insert photo here. That was where the phrase bevy at the Trevi was invented. Brilliant. I also cut the back of both of my legs on an e-scooter. Rome isn't very e-scooter or bike friendly. Even though everybody rides a bike and a scooter, they'll lure you into a false sense of security thinking it's safe. It's safe, but there's cobbled streets everywhere. Have you ever tried to ride an e-scooter on a cobbled street? I'm sure you can imagine, you're like this, like the whole way down, and you have to go on your tiptoes. You can't feel your hands because the vibration. It's a horror show. Don't do it. And I cut both of the back of my legs. Anyway, so then we move on to Bologna. You can bike around Bologna. We didn't. But, oh no, did we? We did bike a Bologna, and it's easier. And in Bologna, we did a day trip to Venice because it's like closer to that side of Italy. And I almost fell in the canal, and it rained all day. And I'm going to put it out there, I'm not Venice's biggest fan. And I know a lot of people absolutely adore Venice. It stinks, and it's dirty, and yeah, it's just not, from seeing all the other cities that we've seen, Venice just didn't wow me. It is gorgeous. Like, the canals running through the streets is gorgeous, and you never get used to it, and it's beautiful to look at. Gondolas are €100 for half an hour. That's broad daylight. That's robbery in broad daylight. We stepped off the train, and within 2 minutes of stepping off the train, a woman had stripped off naked and tried to clean herself and have a shower in the canal. The canals are dirty. And the police were there trying to get this woman out of the canal, and she was just naked and slipping around all slippy and whatever in Venice Canal. And we were like, okay. And then it started to piss it down, and I'd actually left the brolly in the Vatican City, which wasn't great. Then I slipped down the stairs that go into the canal, and my toe dipped in, but luckily I didn't fall all the way in. While I was on FaceTime to my mum, I hurt my bum, I ruined my favourite pair of White Fox jeans, and I had to take my coat off and tie it round my waist. And so I was freezing, wet through, my bum hurt, and I was upset. And we'd booked a late train home, so we had to sit in a bar, drink ourselves to death, and wait for a train, and we all almost fell asleep in the bar. So I didn't have the best Venice experience, but I did have some really good pasta and an ice cream that was far too large for any normal-sized person to eat. And it cost me an arm and a freaking leg. But I get why it is gorgeous, and I imagine if it was sunny, I'd feel a whole lot better about the situation. First of all, because I wouldn't have slipped over, because it wouldn't have been wet. I'm just sad I didn't get it on video. I have got a video of my jeans though, and how dirty my bum got. But I have put that in a TikTok already, so please go and visit that if you're curious. I really don't want to post my arse anywhere else. Also, algae doesn't come out of White Fox jeans. Doesn't come out, so that's good to know. We also did a trip to the Ducati Museum, and if you don't know what a Ducati is, it's a motorcycle brand. Motorbikes. They make motorbikes. They make motorbikes that race in like World Superbikes and MotoGP and BSP and things like that. If you're into motorbikes, you'll know what I'm talking about, but there is a huge museum there, and it is so cool. Even for me that doesn't know anything about motorbikes, it was sick. You can sit on them. Oh God, do you know how cool you look on a motorbike? I would never get a motorbike in my life, but the second I sat on that, I was like, I probably could. Motorbikes do wonders for the arse. If someone looked at you from the back while you're sat on a motorbike, they'd be like, whoa, is that Kim Kardashian riding a motorcycle? No, it's me. It's just a fabulous angle. I took Instagram pictures there. You'll be seeing them swiftly. But that was great. Liam had the best time of his life there. Apart from it's really small and it's hot, but you get past that pretty quick. And then our other day in Bologna, we just did some wandering around, like seeing the sights, taking in the city. I love Bologna. It was a really cute little place. You don't need long there, just like a couple days, do day trips and stuff, but it's cheaper to stay there. It's really lovely. There's great food, there's great people. Yeah, I would recommend. And then Liam went home on our second to last night in Bologna. He flew home. He was always meant to because he works. He couldn't get as much time off work, and he didn't want to take too much time off work, so he went home. And he picked up the car, bless him, and drove back from Stansted on his own. And that's like a 3-hour drive for us, so bless his little heart. Me and Jasmine stayed an extra night in Bologna, and then we went to Florence. Now, our travel day, it was a whole travel experience. We left our bags in the lobby of like our Airbnb, got locked out, couldn't go and get our bags back, and we're on a time crunch to make the train. So it's like a big courtyard, so we ran around to one of the restaurants on the other side, and we were like, hi, can we go through the back and get into the courtyard so we can go and get our cases? So sorry, they're locked in. And they were like, yeah, you can, but I don't think this leads to where you're thinking it leads to. We were like, it does. We go through the back of this restaurant. It does not lead. It leads to an alleyway, which we are then locked in, because we went all the way, we were like, thank you, bye. Now we're locked in this alleyway, but I managed to find a route of escape. So we leave the alleyway after worrying for 10 minutes. We go back around the front and we wait for anyone to come in or go out of our Airbnb. Anyway, we go get the bags, rush to the train station. We get on the train. Well, the train is delayed. So I sit on the ground and make a little clip for the vlog. And then we get on the delayed train, take our train to Florence, and it's persisting it down. It's wet through. Everything's getting completely wet through. We go to our Airbnb, and the guy who's meant to let us in hasn't turned up, and he turns up half an hour, 40 minutes later. He's like, 'cause of the rain, I slowed down. 40 minutes! I don't know. So we're waiting in this really dodgy alleyway outside of a place called Jimmy's Leathers. These 3 blokes running a dodgy leather shop, and there's just a little boy toddler running around. Then they start beefing with a guy outside, like screaming at him. He's screaming at them back, like, and we're like, oh my god, there's gonna be a fight break out, and we can't go anywhere because we're waiting to get into our Airbnb. And all we can see is through a gate some dodgy brick stairs. Anyway. The guy comes, he lets us in, he gives us the most thorough tour of an Airbnb that I have ever had. And also they're prone to blackouts, so he's teaching us how to rewire the freaking breakers in case all the power goes out. We were like, okay, fine. Also, the heat never goes off, so it's hot as balls in there consistently. But other than that, it was a really nice place, and the guy was very nice. And he said if we throw a party, the only thing we've got to do is invite him. That's fine with me. You can come. Anyway. So we decided to go for a little walk, see the sights, have something to eat. So we did that. We had something to eat. We sort of had a little recce of where we were because it was the afternoon at this point. It was dark. And we accidentally fell into the first Irish bar we saw. We got drunk and then we went back and got ready and went to the club. No sightseeing was done. A little bit of sightseeing. We saw a guy playing Phil Collins on a guitar opposite the river that was entirely flooded and almost burst in its banks because the rain was so bad. But the bars were brilliant. We made friends with the bartenders. They called Jasmine Pocahontas. They learnt us by name. And then we went back. Oh my god. Pepper was sitting up on her little hind legs like a meerkat. That was really cute. Yeah, the bartenders learnt us by name. So when we went there the second night, they were like, Lily, Jasmine. And we were like, that's really embarrassing. But first night went well. We did karaoke to Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. They turned the mics off 20% of the way through, and also there was no crowd. No one at all in the crowd. And then they started packing away halfway through us singing. So that was a real confidence boost. Other than that, went really well. And then the next day, even though we didn't go to bed until, I didn't personally go to bed until 8:30 in the morning. And then I woke up at 11:30 the next day. But that's because I was very ill. I didn't throw up, I'm emetophobic, but I would just lay in bed shaking for hours because there was something very wrong with me. Or that's what my mind had told me that anyway. So the next day, after 2 hours of sleep, we decided to go and do a tour of the galleries and the church where loads of great people that have come from Florence are buried. This is something you'll be really interested in if you are a history buff or a philosophy buff, or a philosophy person, or even a physicist. So the people buried there, Michelangelo, the guy who painted the Sistine Chapel and did St. David, the sculpture of David. Leonardo da Vinci isn't buried there. He's got a big memorial there. Dante, Machiavelli, Galileo is buried there, which is the guy who discovered that nothing is orbiting us, the Earth is actually orbiting the sun. Galileo, he is there. And also some other great poets and stuff. Is Dante a poet? Or is it Machiavelli that's a poet? I don't frickin' know. Anyway, they're all buried there. And we went and looked at their graves, and which was, not graves, but sort of memorials. They're in the wall. That was amazing. We lit candles, we placed roses down for it was so lovely. I was violently hungover, but no one in the church had to know that. No one had to tell Machiavelli. So we did a little walk. We went and got some lunch. Then we went back and had a nap while we watched Love is Blind. Equally as good. And then we hit the club that night. And now the clubs, if you've ever been to a Euro club, you will know what I'm talking about. They play the same songs that they just think English people will like, which is hilarious. And what I will say, something I've experienced in every club that isn't in the UK. Men are gross. Italian men were pretty bad for it. They'll shout at you in the street. They'll try and stop you in the street and make you go somewhere with them. They'll grab you. They grab you in the clubs. And I don't know if it's because they know we're British. I don't know what it was. But there was a guy that grabbed me and he was like, hello. And I was like, I threw his hand off me. I threw his hand off my arm and then he grabbed me around the waist again. And I was like, who told you could act like that? I don't know. It was the same. I've always found the same in, like, when you go on party holidays, Zanti's the same, Ayia Napa's the same. We went out in Budapest. That was not as bad, but almost the same. But Italy was bad. Like, Florence has a really big nightlife because it's a student city. So if you're like an Erasmus student, so people from the USA and England and all over the world go and study there. It's really common. So there's a lot of, like, it's really eclectic. So we were meeting, like, loads of Americans. Loads. Oh my God, so many Americans are in Florence. But I think the Italian men thrive off the foreign ladies. And this boy asked me, he was like, what do you think of Italian men? And I was like, you're gross, you're dirty. You're not dirty. They're just very confident and very forward. And I don't like the way we were approached. And it wasn't just like a few occasions that I'm generalising. Like, it's all the time. Like, you walk through the street and they shout. I don't know. It's a feminist nightmare over there. But that was just my experience. Overall, I would recommend Florence 1,000 times over. This city itself is so beautiful. It's like Rome, but a little bit cheaper and cleaner. It's so gorgeous. Florence is really, really lovely. I think it might have been my favourite city. Like, we knew Rome was going to be amazing, but Florence was surprisingly amazing. And then we only spent literally half a day in Pisa, and we spent 15 minutes at seeing the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and that was it. And then we flew home the next day because everyone told us you do not need any time in Pisa. You literally need a few hours. You don't even need a day. So... and we knew we were going to be there for like a day and a night. So we were like, right, we're just going to leave later in the afternoon and spend like half a day looking at the tower. And then by the time we got to our hotel, we were really tired. And then we booked a restaurant. And then we were like, right, we've got to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa before we go to this restaurant. So we accidentally left ourselves 15 minutes to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And you know what? That was plenty. I got TikToks done, photos done. I took it all in. And I went back and had a lovely meal and went to bed and then I flew home. And that was fine. There's nothing else to see in Pisa other than the Leaning Tower. Yeah, that was literally all we needed to get done. And the airport in Pisa is brilliant. It's quite small and you just literally get through security really quick and there's only one room where all the gates are. It's brilliant. I would so recommend Pisa Airport. Overall, I would 100% recommend going to Italy, doing a little tour. Everything is so steeped in history that it is just incredible to take in. Like, you're constantly in awe of something. The size of everything. Like, you can go into a church off the street and it will be immense and it will be the most beautiful church you've ever seen, but it's just like one of their side churches. Like, it's crazy over there. And I would so recommend. The food is great. It's not amazing, but it's good. Maybe I just didn't go to the right places, but I've been to Rome before. This is my second time, but I was younger than I was 16, so this was like the first time I could probably take everything in. We made our own fun while we were there. We like to play a little game that we've developed. You know bogies, how Dick and Dom used to play bogies in libraries and stuff? We play bogies, but you don't say bogies. Instead of saying bogies, you say cock and balls. And everyone's going to be like, whoa, whoa. This little girl saying, do you know I'm the girl who's shouted cock and balls the loudest inside the Colosseum? I doubt anyone else has ever shouted cock and balls louder than I in the Colosseum. Maybe other than when it was used for what it was meant for, and someone got the cock and balls chopped off, and someone went, cock and balls! That's probably the only time it's ever been said louder by a woman. Because Liam actually did shout it the loudest out of all of us. There was no question about it. His man voice, he spoke it and instantly it was louder than everyone else. Also, we timed Jasmine and how long it would take her to fast walk the entire circumference of the inside of the Colosseum. Hilarious. We played Walking Tig inside the Vatican Museum. Was any of this sensible? No, I'm not saying it was. And I'm not recommending it. But playing Walking Tig in the Vatican Museum, especially around the modern art section, where all the art is comparably shit to, the ancient statues that were built thousands of years ago, the modern art section does not live up to absolutely anything. So all you can do really is play Walking Tig. You don't get to see the Pope. We didn't anyway because he was gravely ill. And I was terrified he was going to die while we were there, which would have been a nightmare. But he lived and he's feeling better. He's on the mend, I think, so that's good. But yeah, so we played Tig in the Vatican. We also got drunk a lot. There's loads of really nice places to drink in Rome. Loads of really good bars. Also in Florence, there are wine windows where it's literally just a little hole in the wall and you knock on it and they give you a glass of wine out of it. It's brilliant. If you're going to go to Florence, definitely go and check out the wine windows. It's so cool. Obviously, the wine is great in Italy. If you're going to Bologna or Florence, go to a vineyard. More in the summertime, we didn't go because it's like March, but go to a vineyard, do a little wine tasting. That would be fabulous. And there's charcuterie and cheese boards everywhere. Who doesn't love a charcuterie and cheese board? Not me, because I'm a vegetarian, but you know what I mean. Overall, I would 100% recommend, and when the vlog comes out, I hope you guys watch it. It will be so funny. All we did was laugh the whole time, and it's like you're our friend. It's like we're on FaceTime, and you're literally a mate that's going around Italy with us. It was so fun to film. I filmed in the club. I filmed in doing karaoke. I filmed everything. I filmed playing cock and balls and running around the Colosseum. It's going to be hectic, but I'm so excited for you guys to see it. Hopefully over the next coming weeks we'll be going back to the studio if I get better and I'm not scared of the freezing cold. Otherwise, maybe I'll do a couple more episodes from my bed. I obviously haven't got Liam with me. He's super busy with work and I don't want to force him into doing anything with me. But I've got my life's crazy busy in March. I'm in a dance show in April. I'm doing a lot of work. I've got some ads to film coming up. So my life is hectic busy and I've got all this stuff to edit from Rome. But I am super excited for what I've got coming for you guys. And yeah, I'm glad to see you next week. Thank you for watching the pod. I love you as always. And hopefully you got through this video without getting too irked at my voice. And I'm so sorry it irks me too. But I will see you next week. Thank you guys. I love you loads. Bye.